Welcome back, everyone, to another session on blockchain. There are more terminologies getting associated with blockchain, so it is high time to understand and differentiate the various variants of blockchain. So, welcome to this session. We will be discussing 4 P's of blockchain, that is public, private, permissioned, and permissionless. Let's see what it is. So I am Jitin Fernandez. I have 12 years of experience in IT industry. I am PMP certified project manager working in Dubai. I am blockchain certified and enthusiast. Let's move on. I would recommend you to go ahead and listen to my first session, Blockchain Introduction, to understand the building blocks, the fundamentals of blockchain. So when when the focus shifted from cryptocurrency Bitcoin to its underlying technology blockchain, and when people started getting more knowledge about its fundamentals and the strengths, it opened an avenue of use cases. Every domain, every industry started exploring the possibilities because it was solving the current problems, which are hacking. There is lack of transparency, there is corruption, there is a centralized authority deciding everything. And it seemed like blockchain has solution to all the current threats and challenges which the world is facing as far as technology is concerned. So if you take the case of Bitcoin, we know that anybody can become a miner, anybody can host a node and can have a copy of blockchain. Everything is transparent there. It is completely immutable. There is no centralized authority deciding it. So when blockchain was explored, its fundamentals were explored, these were considered as strength because these were solving current problems. So these are the fundamentals of blockchain, that is decentralization. It is completely distributed, a copy lies in each of the nodes. It is completely transparent. Anybody can come and have a look. It is immutable. Once committed in a blockchain world, it cannot be muted and made completely robust. Anonymity, even though it is transparent, at the same time the transactions are anonymous because they are hiding behind a public and private key. So when you see these core principles, that is nothing but public blockchain, because everything is out there. Anybody can take any role, anybody can go ahead and mine, anybody can go ahead and transact. There are no limitations and it is completely secure. If you think from a perspective of a corporate like an insurance company or banking company or a supply chain management company, everyone would like to know who is doing what and what are the transactions that are happening. They need some kind of control. So that's when people started exploring options for the enterprise world. That's when these different variants of blockchain came into existence. So the next one is private blockchain. So the moment you say private blockchain, it is very evident that certain foundation blocks of blockchain are altered a little bit to suit the enterprise scenario. So as you can see, certain fundamentals are diminishing in private blockchain. So out of five basic fundamentals, you can see three are kind of weak in this scenario because they don't want anybody anonymous in the system. They want people to be identifiable in the system. They want someone to decide who can mine, who can spawn up a node, so it's no more decentralized. And for banking application or supply chain management application, they don't want to expose the entire transactions happening to everyone in the system. They want to selectively expose the transactions based on the roles in the system. So if you see, only immutable and distributed remained intact while other fundamentals are weakening here. And there is an ongoing debate that is this a blockchain? Because most of the fundamentals seem diminishing here. So this is private blockchain. Now to understand what is permission, permissionless, public and private, let's take few examples. So public permissionless blockchain is nothing but these cryptocurrencies which are there currently, which is Bitcoin, Ether. You can create online games where anybody can come in and anybody can go out. So those are public permissionless blockchain. If y'all are aware, as we speak, there are governments around the world who are embracing blockchain for voting. So, in case of voting, they want every citizen to go ahead and cast their vote, but they don't want everybody to see who has casted the vote. They only want the authority sitting there to read the transaction. So everybody is allowed to write the transaction, cast a vote, but not everyone is allowed to read and see who casted for which party. So that is public but permission blockchain. Now let's move to private permission. So the moment you say permissioned, it means not everybody can go ahead and read the transaction. The moment you add private to the permissioned, you are saying now to write in the blockchain, to perform mining or to be a node, that also has to be controlled. So this scenario is suitable for banking applications, security applications, tax computation, where roles are defined, where login is defined, where you are identified. So the moment you are identifying the person, the moment you know who is doing the transaction, then is there a need for consensus mechanism? Because the whole point of having this consensus algorithms in place was to have a completely decentralized system where the algorithm goes ahead and validates a transaction, solves a high maintenance, solves a highly expensive operation of mining, which consumes a lot of electricity, a lot of resources to make it completely robust. Now, with advent of these variants like private and permissioned, the question really arises, do you need an expensive operation like proof of work? Because here you know who the person is and what transactions are they doing, and you have complete control because you can decide who can read, who can write, and who can see the transaction. So essentially these expensive operations are also not needed when you enter the private permission blockchain. So this can be considered as a plus point because there are issues with scalability, there are issues with the how sustainable Bitcoin is because it consumes a lot of electricity and the resources required is very expensive. So this in a way solves the other problems which enterprise companies were facing. So let's check the last one, that is private permissionless. In the sense, it is private. You need to identify yourself here. For example, if you are in an automobile industry, it is the manufacturer who creates the vehicle and sells it to the distributors. Distributor sells it to the retail shops, and retail shops sells it to the consumers. So it is essential here to identify who is the manufacturer. Only he can sell the car to the distributor, and only a consumer can buy from a retail shop. So permission on doing a transaction needs to be identified, but at any point I as a consumer can go ahead and verify, is it a legit automobile and is it coming from a legit manufacturer. So I should be able to go ahead and see the transaction, what has happened against the vehicle that I bought. So it should be permissionless in terms of viewing, but it should be private enough so that it decides who is doing what. So if you go to see these variants, public, private, permission, and permissionless, between them there is a very thin line. So essentially it says, do you need to identify yourself for viewing it, or you can view it irrespective of your identity. The next level says, can everybody go ahead and write it? So to sum it up, public is accessible to all. Private, you need to identify yourself in the system and everybody knows who you are. In case of permissioned, you are permission to go ahead and view, go ahead and write. Permissionless is anybody can go ahead and see what transactions are happening. at that point of time. So the intent here was to break it down for you, giving examples. I hope you got an insight on what are each of these variants. This I've explained at a like a 10,000 feet level. If when you go into granular details, there might be more intriguing questions or intriguing thoughts coming by. But for a person to understand and differentiate on the types, I felt through an example it would be better. To sum it up, now the debate still continues. Other than the Virgin blockchain, that is the one used by cryptocurrencies, are the remaining ones blockchain itself, or are they the muted version of blockchain? But having said that, the new variants are essentially allowing the enterprise applications to finally come on board and start pilot phases for their applications. One has to wait and watch which of these gathers momentum in near future. So let's wait for it. I would request you to go ahead and subscribe on my channel. At the same time, stay tuned because we are moving from the public permissionless blockchain, and we will be dwelling more on the other variants to understand more about blockchain. So thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.